Elijah Granger wasn't the kind of man who believed in the paranormal. At 38, divorced, and rebuilding his life in a dusty Texas town called Dry Creek, he valued logic more than legends. That changed on the night of March 13th, 2023. It started with a knock at 3:12 a.m. Not a bang, not a tap. A hollow, rhythmic knock. 3 soft thuds. Pause. Then 2 more. It wasn't the kind of sound that came from someone in a panic. It was patient, deliberate. Elijah sat up in bed, heart hammering. He lived on a long gravel road with no neighbors for at least a mile. No one should have been there. The knocks came again. Thud, thud, thud. He pulled a flannel shirt over his bare chest, grabbed the flashlight from his nightstand, and walked barefoot across the creaky wooden floor. The wind outside was still. No crickets, no owls, just silence. He peeked through the peephole. 2 children stood on the porch. "Would you like to come in?" The boy spoke first. He looked about 10. The girl was younger. They both wore old-fashioned clothes, button-up coats, scuffed leather shoes, and their heads tilted slightly downward. Elijah couldn't see their faces clearly through the distorted glass. "You lost?" he called out. The girl answered, her voice almost robotic. "Please, we need to come in. Our parents will be here soon." Elijah's skin crawled. It was 3 a.m. There were no cars nearby. He hadn't heard any footsteps approach. And then he noticed it. The sound, or rather the lack of it. No wind, no night insects. It was like the world was holding its breath. "Where are your parents?" he asked. "Just let us in," the boy replied, firmer now. "We can't come in unless you say it's okay." That was the moment Elijah felt the first wave of panic. That sentence was too specific, too eerie. The boy looked up. That's when Elijah saw their eyes. Black, not just dark, not pupils, not dilated, pitch black, no whites, no irises, just 2 bottomless voids staring at him. He stumbled back from the door, heart thundering. "Number, you need to leave," he barked. The boy didn't flinch. Neither did the girl. They just stood there. This time, Elijah hadn't heard a hand move. The door shook, but their arms were still at their sides. He backed away, grabbed his old revolver from the drawer under the sink, and flicked on every light in the house. But when he looked again through the window, they were gone. The porch was empty. He stayed up the rest of the night, lights on, revolver at his side. But the children never came back, at least not that night. The next morning he found tiny black smudges on the doorknob, like soot but oily. He told himself it had to be a dream, but deep down he knew better. Strange things started happening around town. Elijah wasn't the only one hearing knocks. An elderly woman on the edge of Dry Creek claimed she saw 2 kids walking down the road in the middle of the night, vanishing behind a telephone pole. A teen posted on Reddit about black-eyed kids showing up at his campsite. Dan Talbot, Elijah's childhood friend and local sheriff's deputy, initially dismissed the stories. But after his own patrol car died outside the abandoned schoolhouse, just as he spotted 2 children standing by the gate, he wasn't so sure. One by one, people began vanishing. Teenagers, travelers, even locals. No one connected the dots at first, until someone posted dashcam footage. A boy and girl walking barefoot at 3:12 a.m., eyes glowing in the dark. Elijah's fascination turned into obsession. He installed cameras, motion sensors, and left bowls of salt by each window. He stared at the footage each night, sometimes seeing faint shadows where no one should be. Then, on April 1st, something changed. He saw himself in the mirror, but not quite. The reflection lingered too long. It smiled when he didn't. Its eyes slowly turned black. The lights went out. When they came back, the mirror was cracked. From that day, Elijah kept it covered. Dan arrived at Elijah's place one stormy night, pale and shaking. "I've seen them, last night, at my window." He showed Elijah a blurry photo from his phone, 2 pale figures standing by the porch, faces barely visible, eyes black. They whispered something, Dan said. I didn't hear it with my ears. I felt it in my skull. They decided to trace the legend, and that led them to the Trammell house. In the Dry Creek archives, they found the diary of Samuel Trammell, a preacher who lost his wife and child to mysterious causes in 1967. He wrote of strange children knocking late at night, of dreams with black-eyed angels whispering promises of resurrection. His last entry read, "The door opens tonight. May the Lord forgive me." He was found dead the next morning, eyes black, smile carved into his face. Elijah couldn't sleep for 3 nights. The black-eyed children hadn't returned, but something in the air had shifted. He heard whispers in the static of his radio. The scent of ash lingered near his bedroom window, and his dog, an old golden retriever named Baxter, refused to go near the porch after sunset. Elijah turned to old texts, occult books. He spoke with a Navajo elder, a paranormal podcaster, and even a Catholic priest. None could fully explain what he was facing, but they all agreed on one thing. Something ancient was trying to break through, and he was the key. The old Trammell house stood on the outskirts of town, abandoned since 1968. Rumors swirled that the original black-eyed children were first spotted there after a series of bizarre deaths. Elijah and Dan Talbot visited it together. Inside, the house was filled with symbols, warding sigils scorched into wood, salt circles long since disturbed, and childlike handprints in the dust, with 6 fingers. In the attic, Elijah found a rusted mirror. On its surface was etched a sentence, "The mirror shows what seeks entry." That night, Elijah took the mirror home. At 3:12 a.m., it cracked. When Elijah woke the next morning, his wrist stung. He rolled up his sleeve and found a mark seared into his skin. It wasn't a wound. It was a symbol, circular, with 3 slashes through its center. He rushed to his journal and flipped through pages of sketches, trying to recall where he had seen it. There it was, in the margins of Trammell's diary. The same symbol was scribbled beside the final entry. Dan examined it and whispered, "It's not just a mark. It's a key." That night, Elijah dreamt of children with black eyes standing in fire, whispering, "Let us in." He awoke, gasping. The mark on his arm glowed faintly. Marcus Wynn, a local conspiracy YouTuber, uploaded a 2-hour live stream investigating the black-eyed children sightings in Dry Creek. He joked, mocked, and even staged fake encounters. Until the final 30 seconds, the screen flickered. A boy appeared behind him. Then the video glitched out. Marcus was never seen again. Elijah and Dan rewatched the footage. When slowed down, a faint whisper played in reverse. "Doorway found. Sacrifice accepted." Every electrical device in Elijah's home began to misbehave. Radios played whispers. The TV turned on at 3:12 a.m., showing images of the Trammell house burning. His security cameras caught children crawling backward across the ceiling, but none of it could be traced. Nothing saved to memory cards. Just static. Then came the symbols. They appeared on mirrors, walls, and frost, always the same, the slash circle. Baxter barked endlessly at nothing. The air grew colder by the day. Desperate, Elijah and Dan found a reclusive exorcist named Father Malden. He agreed to perform a ritual, warning them it may not work. These are not demons. They are echoes of something far older. The ritual was held in Elijah's basement, where the mirror was hidden. For hours, chants filled the room. Candles flickered. The mark on Elijah's arm burned. Then the basement door slammed, and the children appeared. Black eyes, grinning. Father Malden began convulsing, screaming. He died before he hit the floor. The children vanished. Dan began hearing voices. They told him secrets only Elijah would know. He started seeing Elijah with black eyes, began questioning reality. One night, Dan drove his patrol car straight into the lake. Elijah pulled him out in time, but Dan was never the same. "They're already inside us," he muttered. "We're just pretending to be free." 6 months later, Elijah adopted a boy left at a church door. The boy had no ID, no past, but he smiled warmly, blue eyes, bright, curious. One night, Elijah asked him if he had a name. The boy replied, "Dan." Elijah cried. Maybe it was reincarnation. Maybe it was a gift. Maybe the price Dan paid echoed back a blessing. Elijah now speaks at conferences, warning others. He shares the truth, not just of terror, but of choice, of courage, and the importance of never opening the door to what you don't understand. He keeps a bowl of salt by the door, just in case. At exactly 3:12 a.m., Elijah received an email. No sender, no subject, just one sentence. "We're still waiting," and an image attachment. 2 children, pale, eyes black, standing on a porch, his porch.